All right. 3 o'clock, 3:30 Michigan time. It is 9:30 here in Hawaii. How's the weather in Michigan today?
The sun is out, and that is a positive.
Yep. Well, I grew up there, so I know the weather, man. I know the weather
Absolutely.
patterns all too well. It
Yes.
was somebody gave me a statistic once that Lansing has more cloud cover than Seattle on an annualized basis.
Are you
Do you
serious?
think that's true?
I
Yeah.
wouldn't think so, but who
Yeah.
the
I
heck
guess
knows?
it's like the lake effect, right? So like the clouds move over the lake, it picks up all the moisture, makes the clouds, and then yeah, I don't know,
Covers
something
Lansing.
about that. Yeah.
Hmm.
So anyway, on a call with you today, you were number one in revenue growth between 2022 and 2023 here at Pivot. Tell us a little bit about Gohm.
Gohm, we are a family business. We've been in business for about 40 years. I've been with my father for about, man, it's like 27 or 28 years or something like that now, that we've been together.
Yeah.
Um, we started specializing in insurance restoration about 23, 25 years ago, something like that.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, we got a team of about 17 full-time employees here.
Nice.
So we're small, but we're efficient.
Sometimes, there's a lot of the bigger guys out there would be jealous, right? Because with that head count and that size in your market, like it's still something you can get all your arms around, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Um, and based out of Saginaw, Michigan, correct?
Saginaw, Michigan, about an hour and a half north of Detroit. Yep.
And tell me a little bit about your service area. How far will you drive? You got a lake on one side, so how far will you go the other way?
Got lakes all around us. Um, we stay. It's called the Tri City. With
Mhm.
Saginaw, Bay City, and Midland. All of that's about 20, 25 minutes out, and then we'll go about an hour out from Saginaw here. So we cover a good range
Okay.
around us.
So not quite up to, what is it, Tawas would be the next big town up the lakeshore?
Tawas is only 45 minutes away, so it's not too
Oh, is
bad.
it? Oh, I always thought it was further. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
50
And
minutes.
then when did you join Pivot? Tell us the story. How'd you find us and
Um,
why'd you join?
well, I met John uh, probably about over 20 years ago in another business development group that he was in. And
Hmm.
I was in that group for about 8 years. And John was one of our facilitators. Became friends with him there. Um,
Hmm.
Lost touch with him for several years, but stayed in touch with all of my other guys in the network that I was with. And
Hmm.
I was having some stuff that I wanted to get through, and I was reaching out to my guys. And they suggest I reconnect with John and his company in Pivot. And we joined Pivot about 3 years ago, right around there.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yes. So, I've known John for a long time.
And the never underestimate the staggering reach of the Kowalski family. That's one of my key lessons, right?
There you go.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm here today. It wasn't because I knew John; it was because I knew his brothers.
Is that
We
right?
were in restoration affiliates together. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jim was the president of RA. I sat on the board of that organization for a little bit, and um, genuine salt of the earth people, right? Kind of magnetic in that way.
I have not met his brothers, but the people that I know that know his family closely only talk highly of the whole family across the board.
Yeah, kind
So,
of hard to talk crap about them. That's for sure. They work hard making sure you can't. According to our 2024 member progress report, you were number one as far as revenue growth between 2022 and 2023 with a staggering 134% increase in revenue growth. Hitting it with a big stick. What do you attribute that success to?
Paying attention to our growth, paying attention and truly watching what's coming in the door as far as our leads and our numbers. A lot of what Pivot has taught us in regards to truly watching all of our numbers. A lot of focus on our leads that are coming in and following up and paying attention to what's coming in the door and making sure that it's closed.
Yep. And looking at, clicking into the data just a little bit more, you did not see a staggering increase in leads, at least directionally, when looking at your revenue, which tells me the secret sauce for you was in the conversion of it, right? Like actually taking those leads that come in the door and turning them into jobs that earn revenue. And just in a previous conversation, you and I were talking about, you have some strong opinions on salespeople.
Yeah, there's a lot of lazy salesmen out there, and a lot of larger companies. They need to pay attention to that on what's coming in, what can be converted, and truly, because we know a fire job is truly 5 jobs. It's not just one job, and getting every piece of that job is something that we all need to pay attention to. And the salesmen out there we all run hard, but they will get lazy and just move on to the next one that's easier, instead of making sure that customer is followed up on that possibly they thought was a dead job, but a little bit of work and customer service will sell that job. And that is something that we do very well here, is our customer service and making sure the customer is comfortable and onboarding them and moving forward with them.
It sounds like the secret sauce is somehow rooted in your ability to hold your team accountable, right? You see the leads coming in the door, and then it's always the tap, tap, tap of, hey, Mrs. Jones called us on Thursday. Looks like we got the mitigation. Where are we at on the reconstruction? How are you holding your team accountable?
Well, my team's talking to them about the reconstruction a day into that mitigation service, is already preparing them that a salesperson is going to be next. And that goes from my front desk coordinator, who is talking to our customers on a daily basis, and also my team in the field that's already talking to the customer about what's going to happen next. So it's not one person, it's the team talking together and making sure the customer is going in the right direction with us.
Nice. So for anybody out there who's trying to grow their revenue, what advice would you have for them? What would you say?
Follow up, customer service. Follow up in customer service. We all, every lead that comes in, if they don't know it, they should know that they're paying for that lead in one way, shape, or form. And making sure that lead that's coming in, that you've truly paid, depending on the size of your company, $200 for or $500 for. And Pivot will tell you how to know that. But making sure that lead is a good lead and you're capitalizing on it.
And so when you talk about the throughput of leads and that conversion cycle, we track it in 2 different ways here within Pivot, right? We track the lead to estimate conversion, right? How many of the calls we get, how many of them are going through and we're actually creating estimates for. And then we also track the estimate to job conversion rate, which is your ability to get that estimate approved and actually sell the job. I'll give you the layup question and then the hard one. Which one of those two conversion cycles do you think is more difficult? Lead to estimate or estimate to job?
Lead to estimate or estimate to job. Estimate to job. And I believe our estimate to job, if you look at my numbers, if you have them up, maybe I might be getting them backwards. It's either 66% or 74%, one or the other. Forget off the top of my head,
Mm-hmm.
but
I don't have them in front of me, but 70% sounds about right from what
yeah.
I reviewed earlier, which is kind of staggering, right? Like, so that means if you write 10 estimates, you're closing 7 of them.
Oh yeah. Yep. And some of those leads to estimate, as we do choose on what we want as far as working through our door. So we are very cautious of what we want and what we will take for an estimate. So we know we're going to get a higher close rate in regards to, because we pay attention, and we have several ways that as we question the homeowner on their project, and is it a good fit for Gohm? So
what makes a good project for Gohm versus a bad project?
Good project, bad project. Sometimes you have a gut feeling.
Okay.
And sometimes that gut feeling doesn't come out until you're walking the job. And we have turned down several jobs just because of that gut feeling. And I don't know if I answered that correctly for you, but
well, tell me a story about the gut feeling, right? Like you walk through the job. What is it about that client? Is it the insurance carrier? Is it their disposition? Is it I know some folks use like scope as a proxy, right? Like we don't do roofing, right? We just don't take roofing jobs. So what is it for you? You get on site, you walk through that job. What makes you say no?
If the customer is trying to take advantage of the insurance company, they want stuff done for free and want it put in the estimate. That's a big red flag for us. And we're very upfront with the customer, as we won't bury it. We won't bury their deductible. I don't know if companies do out there, but we will not. We won't bury their deductible inside of an estimate. So that's for us, that's a big red flag. And again, with scope, if people want us to over scope and go into other rooms and stuff like that, that's another big red flag for us. We're not that kind of company, and we just won't work with people that want to be a part of that. So.
Gotcha. And then from the perspective of estimates that go out the door, where do you see the jobs? Like if I've written an estimate on it and I'm not selling it, right? Most of those for you are going through, which is attributed to your increase in revenue growth. But there's still a subsection of those that you write that you're either choosing to not pursue, or you're just losing because you weren't able to convert them, sell them, whatever that is. If you had to choose, is it the customer who's making the choice to not use your services at that point? Or is there an additional filter or layer where you're going, look, sometimes we even put an estimate out the door and we still go, you know what, you're not right for us?
It's a little both. It's a little both. I mean, there's definitely a handful of customers that we're just not the right fit. And it's us doing our work. And hey, we've been around this for several years, and everyone has horror stories, and taking those jobs that we shouldn't have taken. but we took it because we're slow, and then it ends up just biting you in the butt and the, you know, um, it's a little of both of that. So,
Gotcha. What's your favorite part of being a member of Pivot?
the camaraderie with my other members, my
Yeah.
my P3 team. We're just
Yeah.
they're lifelong friends,
Yeah.
and we know their
That's awesome, man.
family. The wives come and they get together, and we can call each other on a dime in the middle of the night if needed, and they'll pick up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
The other part that we love is we truly know where we are as a business, and the way that we report our numbers. My construction company knows if we wanted to daily on if the job's profitable and if we have to move quicker on that job or if we have to sub that job out more.
Mm-hmm.
We know where we are as a company because of how we watch our numbers and talk about our numbers, not just with Pivot, because we report our numbers with Pivot. And now that we know our numbers, we talk about those numbers as a company.
Awesome. If a job's going south, right? You see one that's starting to go off the rails, your costs are going up. What do you do?
We either ramp up or stop. Um, there's something that needs to be caught. It could be a supplement, and we're talking about it weekly, trying to catch those if something's going south. I get reports every week on every single job on where we are percentage wise as far as profit and how much we have to go with the how much of the job is left, and how much budget's left. And
Mm-hmm.
I question my construction manager regarding all that. And he welcomes those because if it's something that he's not catching, I'm catching for him, and we're talking about it right then. So we're trying to get the job back on track.
It sounds like you have an amazing team there at Gohm.
We have a great team. We honestly have a very, very solid team. Very proud of everyone here.
That's awesome, man. And I think I have to imagine that they're proud to work for you as a leader.
I hope.
All right. What questions do you have for me? I always like to ask this question because it drives interesting insights. And I like your construction manager. I always appreciate a good challenge. So do you have any questions you'd like to ask me?
What's the weather in Hawaii right now?
You don't want to know. You're in the Midwest.
It's 85.
And every single time I talk about the weather in Hawaii to somebody who's in the Midwest, like they get mad. I don't know, man. Like I get it. We got great weather.
No, we had. I just had
probably wouldn't catch much from you right now, just because your weather's good. But when your weather's bad, I'm like, oh, it's raining. It's horrible. It's just bad.
Right. No, all in all, I don't have any specific questions. This said, I'm very proud of John and the Pivot, and where Pivot's going. You've been an incredible addition to the Pivot family. So,
oh, thank you, man.
And I love our facilitator, Paul Klauser.
Yeah, Paul's pretty awesome, and I loved how direct he is. It can be, like for folks who aren't used to it, it can be a little off-putting at times. But I think that sometimes, so one of the mottos I always have is if we're operating from a position of truth, we can always move forward. And I think that that's something that Paul does very, very well, is being like, look, here's where it is. What are we going to do about it?
Yep.
And I appreciate that about him.
I do too.
All right. Do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap down?
No, I just thank you for what you do. And my voice gets crackly because I get passionate about this, and I truly believe in it.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate your heart. I appreciate your spirit. And wow, incredible job in 2023 bringing that revenue to the forefront and focusing on that conversion rate and making it happen, not just for yourself, but your whole team.
Yep.
There's a lot to be proud of there.
Awesome, Anthony. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time. Aloha.
See you later.